Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective. In this episode of the Wrestling Revisit, I'm going to be doing a review of NXT Takeover New York 2019. So first on the card, we had the War Raiders defeat Aleister Black and Ricochet to retain the NXT Tag Team Championships. And yeah, this was a great match. Eric or Ro, depending. I'm going to call them by their current names, so Eric and Ivar, to get rid of any confusion. But then I don't help that by calling Gunther Walter later, but we'll get to that. But no, Eric and Black had a brilliant exchange in the start of the match. They were going kind of move for move. There was points where Eric stopped himself from kind of punching Black's lights out, and then there was a moment not long afterwards where Black stopped himself from doing a pretty brutal looking roundhouse kick to Eric. So yeah, they had a very good exchange in the first half of the match. Black and Ricochet, they had the mental advantage over the War Raiders very early in. They did the thing where Black goes for a springboard, but then moonsaults back into the ring and goes into the cross leg position. But yeah, I like how Ivar, by the commentators, was referred to as the high flyer of his team when he was taking on Ricochet, and because there was no member of the team of Aleister Black and Ricochet that was like the heavy hitter, the heavier man of their team, so they went with like the opposite way around, which I thought was pretty good from commentary. But yeah, Black and Ricochet had really good chemistry. It definitely helped that they were teaming together like very regularly at the time on NXT Raw and SmackDown, and I think that was the week where within 1 week Black and Ricochet had shots at the Raw Tag Team, NXT Tag Team and SmackDown Tag Team Championships. But yes, they were really good together as a team. I'd say Black and Eric's exchanges continued to happen throughout the match, and they were both fantastic. The strikes from them both were also on point. It felt like Eric was kind of playing, I don't want to say playing, but he was wrestling Aleister Black's kind of match, and it was working very, very well. Ricochet attempting a handspring, only to miss it for Ivar to do one in return, I thought was really, really cool moment to have within the match. But yeah, such an awesome way to start the show. There was a sign of things to come. This show was absolutely fantastic as far as wrestling goes. And yeah, just watching this back and seeing how especially the War Raiders are used now, it's amazing. I don't know if it's not amazing. It's just it's a shame that the War Raiders don't go as well as they used to. I know that they've both had big injuries since, but also we don't get the kind of tag wrestling that happens here on the regular on the main roster anymore, which is a massive shame and something that I really wish would come back, because I feel like the tag division right now on Raw and SmackDown are really good. They're just not given the opportunities that they're not given the opportunities to wrestle the way that we were getting back here in NXT, where all the teams can show just how great tag team wrestling is. And yeah, we just don't get that anymore, which is a massive shame. But yeah, overall, this match was absolutely fantastic. I would put it up against probably most other TakeOver tag team matches, but I know the quality of them are very, very high, especially when it came to the Revival and DIY. But yeah, I thought this was a fantastic way to start. As I said, it was a sign of things to come, because the wrestling on this show was at a top quality. And yeah, I think it was a great send-off for Aleister Black and Ricochet in a way that people probably wouldn't have expected, with them being two singles guys ending their NXT run in a tag team. And that we had Velveteen Dream retain the North American Championship against Matt Riddle. And yeah, what was a decent match. Riddle was great, looking for transitions into submissions almost immediately and going for his forte, which of course is the MMA style. But yeah, the dynamics that we kind of don't see very often go against each other. We had the striking and submissions of Matt Riddle against the high-flying and more traditional wrestling styles of Velveteen Dream. I thought worked very well as, let's say, dynamics go. Riddle controlled the majority of the match, but Dream hulking up, I don't know. In this one, I wasn't sure who the heel was and who the face was, because Velveteen Dream was getting very babyface reactions, but so was Riddle. So it was kind of like a babyface versus babyface, but then I feel like Velveteen Dream was the heel maybe, but then he was hulking up, which then would suggest he's babyface. So I wasn't very sure on this one. Riddle had an answer for almost everything as far as high impact moves from Velveteen Dream. It's also using the momentum of his big moves as well. I think he went for the flying elbow, and Riddle turned it into a triangle choke. I thought worked very, very well. Dream stole it in the end, which is where he used his Riddle's own style against him, where he transitioned a submission into a roll-up and then picked up the victory. But overall, yeah, it was pretty fine. I'm not going to give my personal opinions on each person like as I normally would do, just because these are such controversial characters. But yeah, I think overall it was the weaker match of the night, but it was still very, very good, which shows just how amazing this show was. But yes, I had nothing negative to say about the quality of the match. A lot of negative to say about the people in the match. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a great match. After that, we had Walter defeat Pete Dunne to become the new NXT UK or United Kingdom champion. And yeah, this was absolutely brilliant. I cannot say enough good about this one. Both guys looked absolutely great coming out of it. I love how Walter wrestles. Everything is so seamless to both guys when it comes to just amazing moves. But really liked how the start of the match started relatively even up until Walter's first connection with the big chop that he does. And after that point, it was maybe a flurry of about 2 to 5 minutes of just Walter beating up Pete Dunne, which worked within the match very, very well. Walter, unlike Gunther, he wrestles in every single kind of way, which I've really, really enjoyed about when Walter was in NXT, and especially NXT UK, as he would do high-flying moves. When he goes for the splash, he would go for a brawling technique, he would go for powerhouse, he would go for traditional wrestling, he would kind of go for everything. It was like the catch-as-catch-can wrestling. It was all really, really good. But Dunne, I feel like this is a good reminder of just how good Pete Dunne was. I think at one point was one of the best wrestlers, bell to bell in WWE at one point when he was in NXT UK, same as Tyler Bate and Walter. But yeah, so we don't really get to see that side of Pete Dunne anymore. He's been injured a fair bit. He's been put in a tag team with Tyler Bate. But I pretty much blame the whole Butch thing as to why he's kind of been mistreated over the last few years, because no one took him seriously as Butch. They should have just kept him as Pete Dunne and then kind of run with that. But, it is what it is. The splash into the triangle, very similar to some stuff in the Velveteen Dream and Riddle match, I thought was done really, really well. But yeah, went for some horrible, I don't know, it was kind of near the ending parts of the match, maybe within the last 10 minutes. You could tell that Walter had kind of just had enough of Pete Dunne and just started beating the hell out of him, and he was going in for the kill, which I think, again, added to the story of the match. They went for horrible looking stomps and clotheslines, and then we got the 1.98 count on the bitter end on Walter, which worked really, really well. And because no one's expecting him to be able to hit the bitter end on Walter, so when he got it and then was so close to getting a 3, I think it worked. And again, it just worked in the story of the match very well. We were 23 minutes into a 26, I believe, minute match, and the match completely restarted. They were just going with strikes and chops, doing the whole, boo, yeah thing. But yeah, the avalanche powerbomb and then the splash to get the win, again, putting Pete Dunne over in a way that, he was pretty unbeatable to that point, where Gunther's got to pull new things out of his arsenal to get the win. But yeah, both guys deserved the standing ovation that they got. It was absolutely fantastic match. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. I believe it's on Netflix with all the other NXT events. It's absolutely fantastic. And the thing is that this is a absolutely masterpiece of a match, and yet it's the second best match of the night, which again just goes to show, as I've said on every bit of this, the quality of wrestling was so high on the show. After that, we had Shaina Baszler defeat Bianca Belair, Kairi Sane and Io Shirai to retain the NXT Women's Championship. And again, what was another fantastic match. It was high octane, especially with Io Shirai and Kairi Sane. Again, I'm probably going to keep saying Io Sky or Io Shirai. I can never make a decision. But yeah, they worked together really seamlessly throughout. That's Kairi and Io. Personally, I would have liked to see more of Kairi and Io kind of going back and forth. We got a teaser of it at the start of the match and near the end. But yeah, I would have loved to see these two kind of have a championship match at a takeover. I feel like they would absolutely have stolen the show if they had done that. But yeah, Baszler probably the least involved, which kind of makes sense if she's trying to protect her championship, but also look good in I don't know, the whole heel character thing is that, you don't have to be massively involved, so then she's just kind of taking a lot of breaks on the outside and then breaking up pins when needed. But yeah, say Baszler, hadn't been so dominant. I feel like Belair would have been women's champion at one point, if that makes sense. Bianca Belair came in at such an unfortunate time where, Baszler was kind of controlling the NXT Women's division, and then Rhea came up. Rhea was massively over, so then they put the title on her. Bianca was very unlucky not to have become NXT Women's Champion, but also it wouldn't shock me if they kind of did what they did with Becky Lynch, and maybe at some point when Bianca's kind of, I don't want to say lost in the shuffle, but we don't really know what to do with Bianca Belair, they could put her back down in NXT, have her win the NXT Women's Championship, and elevate that division even more. But yeah, say Belair, I thought was really cool during the match. As a kind of comedy element, Belair blew a kiss to Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane caught it and then threw it at Io, and then Io pretended to have like a bat, and then they like batted it away into the crowd, and all three looked at the kiss fly away into the crowd. It was quite funny to have during the match. And again, it has that storyline, the storytelling of the match element, which works very well, and NXT are very, very good at. But yes, we got an early taste of the opponent partnership that I absolutely love in Io and Bianca. Whenever those two seem to wrestle each other, it seems to be a very, very good match. Especially back in 2023, they had 2 matches on pay-per-view, which I really like. But yeah, for me, Bianca Belair was the MVP of the match. She was involved in nearly everything, but was wrestling very well throughout. The double KOD on Kairi and Io was done perfectly. There was no real, maybe sometimes, especially with like John Cena, when he does the double attitude adjustment, one of them kind of falls off or rolls off or something like that. No, Bianca Belair did perfectly a double KOD, which I thought was very good. But the ending with the Karavuda clutch looked really intense on Bianca Belair. Probably wouldn't have had Bianca take the submission here. Probably would have had it been Kairi, just because she's lost to Baszler before, so it would have made a lot more sense. But yeah, you could tell just how desperate Baszler was to get Belair to either to tap or pass out. But yeah, completely fantastic match. It felt like it never really stopped. It felt a lot shorter time-wise than it actually was, which is always a good thing to have in a wrestling match. And yeah, again, if you haven't seen it, go check out. It is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I said, again, nothing bad to say about this one. It was great, and all 3 women looked absolutely fantastic throughout. So those are my thoughts and opinions on NXT Takeover New York from 2019. Do put down in the comments below your thoughts on the show, what you thought of each match, and why this is, I think I looked on Cage Match, and this is the highest rated WWE event, of all time. So yeah, I'm sure there's a reason for that. What did you enjoy the most about it? I mean, I can certainly understand why. The wrestling on here was absolutely brilliant throughout, from start to finish. It was great. But yeah, do let me know what you thought of it in the comments. Do look out for other stuff on the channel. Do stick around and subscribe. Do like if you enjoyed this kind of video. Do suggest any other revisits for me to do, any pay-per-views you'd like to see me do in the future. I'm kind of going from 2001 to 2019, that kind of era of wrestling in WWE, as well as AEW, TNA even as well, if you want me to watch something from there. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.